Okay, so before I go to the successful presentations and everything for this week, where I'm going to basically give information or talk about the oral presentations, structure of oral presentation, and preparing your presentation with PowerPoint slides and everything. Okay. So this is basically after you have done with the assessment, meeting assessment. So what I'm going to basically explain first is the your preparation for your meeting assessment, okay, which is this one. So okay, you can see right the screen. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So what do you need to prepare first? Okay, is that you need to submit your meeting notice and agenda. Okay, so I have prepared a section for you to submit. So just prepare this in one document. Okay, should be okay. Uh, then you can send your group submission to on iTel. Okay, submit it on iTel. So like what you always do. Okay, so include group members name. Okay, ID number. Okay, so we have to include this things like the things that you always do. Okay, all right, so after you have submitted your meeting notice, so you basically need to prepare the meeting materials. Okay, so you need to prepare your meeting materials. Okay, um well, basically things that's related to your project lah. Okay, to your project or proposal. Okay, so this kind of preparation, you can include perhaps documents, okay, or maybe sets of data, right? Like draft, if you have something that you want to show, maybe comparison, okay, options, right? So, for example, if you invite a list of speakers, then you need to include the list of options, okay, speakers, there are data and everything, okay. You can also include pictures if you have pictures, okay. Maybe pictures can relate to the place or menu, okay, or anything related, okay. So you can include basically all this. What else do you need to prepare? Um, so I would like to ask if, yeah, whether you prefer it to be face to face and or online. But I bet you want to have it online, right? The assessment, maybe online. You prefer it online, right?
Yes, sir.
You know? Yes. Okay. So I think I'm not sure. Maybe because yeah, online. Okay. There are I think some issues. Yeah, online. Okay. So if it's online, okay. So online, then you have to make sure that your internet is okay. Okay. You have to make sure that everyone's internet is okay because otherwise it's difficult for me to evaluate or listen I'm not sure about UMS library. Considering the place, I think UMS library, I'm not sure if it's okay there. Yeah, because previously there are some students who went there, but the internet is not really that good, right? Is it? UMS library. Maybe in some area perhaps good, but maybe in some other sections not really that good. But you need to find a place that's good with internet. Okay. Uh, you can also go to PPIB. Okay. You can come to the class actually. Yeah. You can go to our class, right? Um, so if it's face to face, so you can actually go to class and then everybody can bring your laptop or tablet, then you can sit in a form of circle or facing with each other, right? Then I will evaluate you based on that lah. But if it's online, then you have to make sure that your internet is okay, right? Then you can take the assessment. Okay, so I'm considering this to be online. Okay, so but whether it's online or face to face, okay, you need to prepare your materials. Okay, so make sure. Okay, also you need to make sure that your discussion is within 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so not more than that, because yeah, I have other groups as well, lots of students, so not more than 20 to 25 minutes. So you can practice before, um, and you need to study the meeting procedures. Okay, yeah, you need to study the meeting procedures. So of course the chairperson will chair, right? So then secretary will be there as well. But everybody must, yeah, sorry. So everybody must discuss, must contribute ideas. Okay, everybody must contribute ideas. All right. So or maybe ideas or solutions. Okay, solutions to the problems or agenda. Okay. So if it's 20 to 25 minutes, then one person will get approximately 5 minutes. Okay, approximately 5 minutes per person. All right. So you can basically practice this on your own first. Okay, then you can see how long is your meeting. Okay. Yes. If another thing that you need to prepare, okay, if for example you have done your previous meeting, for example you assume, okay, that okay, the assessment meeting is your second, okay, then you need to prepare your minutes of meetings. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so if you have done or assume that you have I mean, like, the assessment is your second meeting, um so you have to prepare previous minutes of meeting lah. So example can be basically you can follow the examples from the slides or the book. Okay, so you include everything like what I've mentioned before during the consultation and everything. But if it's not your first meeting, sorry, if it's not your second meeting, and if it's uh, your first meeting, then no need lah. no need minutes of previous meeting. Okay, so this is just to remind you again. Okay, because sometimes I mean, like, you can get confused when somebody else mentioned, hey, you need to prepare minutes, you need to prepare minutes, when actually that is your basically your first meeting. Okay, so yes, we have to take note of this. Okay. What else? So meeting procedures and everything you have to study. So the procedures will be based on your agenda. Okay. So first agenda, which is compulsory. The first one should be your apologies. Okay. So this one is to check attendance. Okay. So if there is no absentees, then you can proceed. Then you have introduction lah. Okay, you can introduce about your meeting or about what program and everything. Okay, then you proceed to your main agenda. Okay, so this is basically things like anything like the budget, the flow of the program. Okay, and maybe sponsorship and everything. Okay, then after your main agendas, we have your any other business. Okay, this is to just clarify you the compulsory agenda that you need to include. And the last agenda should be date of next meeting. All right. So this four, okay, is basically your is basically the compulsory agendas that you need to have. But if if you have done if you have if this is your sorry if this is your second meeting or third meeting, okay, then you need to include previous minutes of meeting, okay, and also this one, uh, matters arising. So this thing, okay. So this is optional if let's say you have you assume that this is your second meeting that you need to include this. All right. So the agendas, we can include any agendas related to your program lah. Introduce the program, the project or proposal. All right. Remember, you don't have much time, so you need to yeah, keep this in mind that you basically need to focus on the main agendas. Okay. So just make it simple for this agenda here. Okay. But you need to focus on this one. Okay. So this is basically the focus. All right. Um, okay. How many of you? 27. Okay, 27. Right. All right. Okay. So, okay, everybody must contribute and this lah. So, of course, you need to prepare your meeting materials. So, in the form of maybe this, okay, documents, data, and everything lah. Okay. Also, your meeting notice and agenda, you have to submit. Okay, this one. All right. Okay, so I'm considering this to be online lah because I think there are several issues. Okay, especially those who are staying in the college or staying outside in the non-residence area, right? So okay. So any questions for this one? Questions? Q&A? No questions? Are you there? Are you guys still there? Okay, so far so good. Okay, so I think this one I'll share this with you later lah. Okay, all right. So let's go back to the slides. All right. So I'm going to focus on the important parts. All right. Mainly in terms of the structures of oral presentation. So, so when it comes to this presentation, okay, so if you check back the assessment, okay, so oral presentation is the same thing, 25%, 20 to 25 minutes. So every person, each individual will have approximately 5 minutes, approximately 5 minutes only, okay? So the same thing. So you have to present your project proposal based on what you have discussed and agreed, okay, during the meeting. So this is based on the agenda. So the things that you're going to present is mainly about the focus of your agenda, okay? So since you have five members, so you have to divide things among yourselves lah. So things like, for example, the introduction minutes of previous meetings, okay, uh, matters arising. Okay, those are things that maybe you can just simply mention briefly. But the things that is going to be the focus of your presentation is the main agenda of your proposal. Okay, things like any other business you can also include if you have. Okay, if you know, then you have to focus on the things agenda that you have. Okay, so basically, you can present about the things like, for example, things that you have discussed, okay, in the meeting. So you have these problems, okay, certain problems, maybe five problems or five issues, okay. Then later, you have these several solutions for that. Then uh, you can actually present that as well, okay. So so you have to divide the responsibilities of assigning and presenting each problem and solution, okay, accordingly to every member, all right. So it's not about just intro and then it's not just about introduction and then briefly talk in generals about the meeting, okay. So what I want to see is you are presenting the agenda that you have discussed, okay, which will be next week. Then the discuss agenda, then you have solution for the discuss agenda. Then you have to present that, okay. So you can divide things among yourselves, right? So there should be lots of things, okay. I think should be sufficient based on your proposals and program. So yeah, you can basically talk about the things, okay. So I'll give examples later of how you can take one issues and present that in the oral presentation later lah. Okay. So right. So far okay. Okay or not. So far okay. All right. So let's look at the right. Um, okay. So it comes to presentation. Okay. I don't want you to read. Okay. Uh, I want you to present. Okay, you can refer to your points. You can. It's not a problem if you want to prepare points. Okay, maybe some notes, but you don't read from the notes and the points. You need to basically present them. So that's why I think in the previous videos I mentioned that you need to fully understand the agenda that you are going to discuss and discuss later. Then also you need to understand about the discussion and then the solutions that we have discussed and given for the solutions and for the problems that you think you have for the proposal or the project. Okay. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about these stage fright things. Okay. But of course, this is mostly related to public speaking. Okay. And sometimes you guys, okay, when you are asked to come to the front, you are nervous. Okay. I can still remember, okay, some of you, and then I think most of you are nervous when I ask you guys to come to the front. Okay, so perhaps because you're not used to it, okay, and you are meeting new people, and then the language, okay, and you probably are not prepared and everything, so you are lacking in knowledge and everything, okay. So those kind of things. So that's why it's important for you to prepare, okay, and actually prepare. Meaning to say that you need to prepare yourself with lots of things, all right, like reading, for example. Okay, so all right, so not going to this. Why is it important? Okay, okay, so this is the planning part. All right. So what you need to consider later is during the presentation is of course the audience should be you guys and also me. Okay, this thing, the duration. Okay, this duration, visual aids, topic. This one is basically us. This is also basically things. If we are using the classroom, then yeah, we will use the classroom. If not, then we can just make it online. All right. Outcome. Okay, so basically, topic and then delivery. Okay, objective not necessarily because an outcome is not necessarily. Outcome could be the solutions for your problems. Okay. Planning and preparation is basically coming from you. Okay, how you are planning and preparing yourself to present the points. Okay, so for example, you have different agendas in the meeting. Okay, um, let's say mental awareness campaign. Okay, let's say mental awareness. So you want to so you have several agendas here, right? Mental awareness. And then one agenda could be something like budget. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Should be the tentative. Then you have what else? Speakers. Okay. Then you have budget. Then you have sponsorship. Okay. Okay. So, for example, four. Okay. Then you basically want to talk about maybe one of it. Okay, one of you is assigned to tentative. Okay, so you can basically talk about that in the topic, which is here. Okay, the tentative of your program lah. Maybe the tentative of mental awareness campaign or something. Okay, and then here you present the tentative. Okay, uh, so suggested in the meeting. Okay, sorry. Oh, okay. Need to okay. Suggested in the meeting, and then you have tentative uh discuss after the meeting. Okay, so these things. All right. So you can talk about this too. Okay. For example, tentative. Okay. Actually, there are lots of things about tentative. Okay. Maybe you want to focus on the activities or anything. Okay. So the first suggested activities could be, maybe there are there are few activities here. Okay. So you put a few activities, for example. Okay. Suggested activities. Right. A few. Then after you have discussed, then you have another new activities or improvised activities. Okay. So you put it. Okay. So you can actually present this in one or two slides, no problem. Okay. Or one or two section should be no problem. All right. So you can talk about this, for example, activities, and maybe there are other things. All right. Um, so you can explain. Okay. You need to explain. All right. So I'm explain about the things about these two, right? Explain. Normally you put the questions of WH questions, okay? Questions. So why have you done that? Okay. For what reasons? Okay. So when? Okay. Why is it suitable and everything? All these questions. How are we going to do this? Right? So not so much, because remember that you don't have much time. Okay. Then you can include lah. Maybe you can include animations or pictures, okay, along with your tentative. So this is one thing lah of how you can basically talk about this. So, for example, if you have maybe less than 4 or 5 agenda, right? Then you want to divide it among yourselves. So you need to think about the sections of the tentative and divide them equally among your group members. Okay. So if let's say that in budget you have lots of things, right? So then, but maybe budget can be presented by two people. Okay. So budget perhaps can be presented by two people instead of one. Okay. Maybe if tentative can be presented by one. Um, then speakers maybe one or two perhaps. Okay. Budget one or two. Sponsorship maybe one. Okay. So since you have 5 members in the group, right? So depending on what kind of, I mean, like depending on the content of your discussion. So that's why it's very important for you to plan your agenda. Okay. So that everybody have equal chance of um, presenting their points. Okay. So about the other agendas like introduction, apologies, any other business, or the date of next meeting, those are just normal agendas. You can just basically talk about that briefly. Okay, not so much, but the focus is basically your main agenda. So that's the thing that I want you to present lah. This thing, main agenda here. Okay, your main agenda. All right. Speakers, the same thing. Okay, it can be one or two, right? Maybe you can talk about the list of invited speakers. Okay, then you can include pictures and the portfolio or profiles. Then you can explain. Okay, about the speakers that you have invited. Maybe the same thing like before. Before during the meeting, you have suggested few speakers. Then after the meeting, you have decided to pick only 3 out of 6, okay, or maybe out of 10 or 5. So it's up to you. So you put reasons why, okay, then why you are taking this person to be the speakers and everything lah. Okay, the same thing with sponsorship. Okay, so sponsorship also same thing. Okay, explain why. Okay, uh, how did you get the sponsorship, right? What were the procedures and everything? How much money, the allocation and everything lah. So those kind of things. Okay, so far any other questions? Any other questions? Any questions? Good. Okay. If good, then okay lah. So delivery should be by you. Purpose and objectives, basically, not really. Not, it's not necessary for you to mention. Just focus on the agenda and the thing that I highlighted. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Right. Okay. So this is basically the structure of oral presentation. Okay. Um, for the structure of oral presentation, normally we have intro, then we have body, and we have conclusion. Okay, so it's the same like essay, right? So, but it's in the point in the form of speaking. Okay, so I think I've basically have explained about how you can structure your presentation. Okay, so of course, introduction, you can start with greetings. Okay, thank you, chairperson, for invite. No, no, this is your presentation. Okay, so thank you. It's good morning and everything. Okay, so you proceed with your agenda. So for my part, so I'm going to present about the first agenda, which is the tentative of our program, which is, for example, mental awareness and everything. Okay, so then you can start proceed. Okay, with your agenda, and then the body should be basically based on your agenda lah. Okay, um, this one, body should be based on the agenda. So this is basically to uh, introduce about, okay, what you are going to present. Okay, of course you introduce yourself lah. Okay, introduce yourself and what you're going to present, the agenda and everything, things that what the things that I've mentioned. Okay, so when it comes to meeting, okay, uh, the point that you need to basically include, okay, is the during meeting, okay, and after meeting. So during the meeting, or uh, maybe in the meeting, okay, you have decided to do some things. Okay, so then you put the points like what I've mentioned before. Okay, previous discussion. Then after you have discussed, then you can put the things. Okay, so this kind of things. So you need to support them with supporting ideas lah. Okay, each this. So your main point one is in the meeting. Okay, and then point two should be after the meeting lah. Okay, and if you have any other point that you want to include based on this, then yeah, you can also include another point. But remember that you have only 5 minutes, so not so much time. So you need to plan yourself. For conclusion, just it's okay. Not necessary for you to. I mean, like, uh, yeah, you can basically just conclude that. Okay, so hence our group, our company, for example, our organization have decided to do these activities in the tentative instead of the one that we have discussed before. Okay, so just basically restating back your the thing that you have mentioned in the introduction, huh? Okay, and the content. So I think, yeah, as simple as that. Okay, the structure here is basically things about general. Okay, when it comes to you try to organize your ideas. So right now I'm helping you to basically organize your ideas into this. Okay, because you are going to present about the agenda of your meeting. So of course you have to need to have the things for uh, the things during the meeting, which is before you have discussed. Okay, and then after the meeting. So after the discussion, solutions and everything. So those things that you need to improve, not improve, include in your presentation. Okay, so this is basically things that you can read. Okay, like how you can start. Okay, introduce yourself. Okay, and everything. So one thing. Okay, just for your information. Okay, yeah, when it comes to oral presentation, you can actually do this to grab the audience attention. Okay, there are a lot of things and ways of how you can basically grab the attention of the audience. Okay, but you do not spend too much time on doing this. Just spend maybe few seconds or 10 to 15 seconds. So, for example, you can put a fact, or you can start with a quotation. You can even tell a joke, or this. Okay, you can also use pictures. So, the things that you can do if you want to grab the attentions of the audience when it comes to the meeting is basically to show your uh, agenda. Okay, so how you can show your agenda is that, for example, if it's a tentative, then you show the tentative now. Okay, the comparison of tentative. So it's like a looking like telling the audience to look at the two different pictures. So this is tentative one, this is tentative two, the latest one. Okay, so then you explain. So you can basically grab the audience attention based on that. So if it's speakers, okay, if you have invited some people, then you put lists. So person A, person B, person C. You put pictures. You can just take any random three pictures, then put that on your assessment. Okay, then put a portfolio's profile. Okay, you can actually ask ChatGPT to design the profile for you. Just copy some brief information about something, then just paste it. So that's okay. Okay, it's your assessment, and it's for your presentation. Okay, so you can put the fake profiles. Okay, meaning to say that for your assessment. But if you want to do it real later, then you have to take real person lah. But since this is just assessment, you can do it like that. Okay, so yeah, you can put pictures, and this is the list of peoples that we have. Okay, then yeah, so that's those kind of things are basically things that you can do to grab the audience attention if you want to do it in meeting presentation. The same thing with budget, right? You can show the figures, the numbers of money and everything, the details of that. Okay, so those kind of things. Okay, so I hope that you take note of this. Okay, because this one looks simple, but actually it's actually quite important as well. Okay, so next we have, yeah, greet the audience. You can say hello, give salam. Okay, introduce yourself. Not so much on the introduction. Yeah, just say that yeah, I am Afifa, for example. Okay, so I am the treasurer. Oh no, I am the head of human resource for my company. Mention. Okay, so remember that your group have its own identity. Okay, so you have your own logo and everything, right? So you can basically use that logo and your position to introduce yourself. So I am the CEO of this company. I am the secretary of this company and everything. Okay, so just a simple introduction like that. Okay, and this is what I meant by you need to introduce your agenda lah. Okay, you need to introduce your title and subject, which is the agenda. Objective, no need lah, because when you introduce this, you basically telling people that you want to talk about the agenda. So objective is not compulsory unless you have something lah, something that requires you to state this, but it's not necessary. So main points, like what I've mentioned before, you have points during the meeting and after the meeting. So I have outlined that before for you, so you can check that. You can design and draft your points based on that. Okay, yeah. So this is also up to you, which is it that you want to sequence your ideas and everything. You can check this. Okay. non-verbal signs, okay? Use hand gestures, okay? Do not be static, okay? If it's online, then you have to use your facial expression. You can also put hand gestures a bit, right? So that people can see you presenting. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can basically use, words or phrases. You can check that in book as well. All right, so this is also the same thing. Okay, um, to conclude, how you can conclude, just conclude your presentation simply. Okay, do not take so much time. All right, and finally, you have to thank the audience lah. And yeah, do not ask questions lah because you don't have much time. Okay, if you have lots of time, then perhaps you can do Q&A. But yeah, so after presentation, and okay. All right, so yeah, regarding your presentation, you can design your presentation in less than, I think, 2 to 3 slides should be okay lah. Okay, or maybe up to five maximums. All right. If one pun okay, so 1 to 5 slides should be okay. Not so much, okay? Maybe 1 until 5 slides should be okay. All right. Then you can design your presentation on the based on what you know. So you have PowerPoint, which is the thing that you have used before. Now I think you can use Canva. Uh, yeah, you can. The one that I'm using is Genially. Okay, so you can Google Genially, and you can actually it's free, and it's an animated presentation. So they have templates as well. I think you know Genially, right? So you can use that as well. Lots of things, Prezi and everything. Okay, but yeah, but if you do not want to use PowerPoint, then you can use other things or software presentation that you are comfortable with. Okay. All right. So when you one last thing, okay, one last thing before I let you guys go. Uh, One last thing is that when you are presenting, make sure that you speak uh clearly. Okay, the volume of your voice is okay. It's loud enough for me to hear. Right. That's why it's very important for you to make sure that your internet connection is okay. It's good if we are having this online. The other things lah, clarity, eye contact, and all this. Okay, so yes. So now not going to give you any more tasks because yeah, I want you to prepare for your assessment. Okay, so your assessment uh is basically your meeting assessment, and the final one should be the presentation. All right. So yeah, so make sure that you have sent your meeting notice and agenda on ITEL, which is the due should be Sunday this week, right? And prepare your meeting materials like the one that I've mentioned. You can also have visual aids. You can prepare some pictures or documents, data, graph, etc. Okay. And if you have any questions, you can consult with me. Lah. You can also ask me if you want to meet me in my office. Should be okay, no problem. All right, so any other questions? Any questions, students? Are you still there? Any other questions before I end the session?
No, sir.
No question? Okay, so don't forget to sign in the attendance. Okay, so if no questions, then that should be all from me. So no other work for the class except for you to prepare your assessment. Okay, and hopefully you can make a good use of this time to prepare. All right. So that if you if you prepare enough, then should be no problem for you to get good marks. Okay. So if no other things, then that's all from me. Okay. So that's all, everyone. Okay.